So next step, we're going to go to the devices in the core, and we're simply going to turn LDP off. So on XR1, we look at the show run pipe include LDP. We're running LDP auto config under the ISIS process. Show run pipe to include quote LDP pipe for or ISIS quote under router ISIS 1 no MPLS LDP auto config. Auto dash config. And that actually is under the address family. Address family IPv4 no MPLS LDP auto config. Okay, if we show config, what am I changing? Okay, I'm removing LDP, I'm going to commit. And we do the same thing on XR2 and XR3. Okay, so we've turned off LDP auto config, and then we commit the change. End result should now be that the end customer no longer has IP transport. We technically do still have the routes to the destinations, but in this case we see now we're receiving ICMP unreachable, because what's happening is the packet is not correctly getting encapsulated into MPLS in the core because I don't have the correct label for transport to get to the exit point. We could see this from router 6 if we were to debug IP ICMP. Okay, let's make sure globally first we're logging monitor 7, logging on, terminal monitor, console already monitors. Okay, I'm on the console, I'm not on the VTY session, so logging console 7. Okay, console already logs, which is good. And then we debug IP ICMP. We ping to the destination, and what this should tell us is that someone is dropping the packet. Who is dropping the packet? Okay, who sent us unreachable? Unreachable came from 10.4.11.11. So XR1 knows, hey, for some reason, this says MPLS is required. The exit interface does not have a binding to whatever the next hop is, and the label end result is drop. Okay, this would be a hardware drop from the iOS XR box's point of view. Okay, so this is what we would expect. I turned LDP off. It's broken, obviously, right? Okay, hopefully. So now we ping again. Okay, repeat 99999. And now what we're going to do is turn on segment routing. Okay, the question is, how do you do that? Okay, to tell you the truth, I don't know. But I know that the config is very, very simple. Okay, in general, what we need to do is tell the control plane, hey, you need support for segment routing, enable those extensions, run segment routing, advertise this to everybody, and what are you advertising? Okay, you're advertising a block of labels that you're using for allocation. Okay, normally this block of labels is auto-generated via LDP, and you would see this if you went to any box and looked at the show MPLS label range. Okay, label range starts at 16 and counts up to 1,000,000. LDP is going to start at number 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, so on and so forth. Okay, what we need to do now is to dedicate a label range to segment routing. Pull some of those out of LDP and say, no, those are not LDP labels anymore. This range is just for SR, just for segment routing. Okay, so configuring segment routing for ISIS. It says you go under router configuration mode. You say segment routing ISIS, or segment routing MPLS, segment routing MPLS. Okay, that's straightforward. Then what do? It looks like that's it. Okay, so let's try just this. We go to, and this is our regular iOS box, okay, which is router 2. We go to router 2. We go to global. Go to global and say segment routing MPLS. Okay. What's under segment routing? Okay, what is the prefix to segment ID mapping? Okay, we'll talk about that in more detail later. What's the global block of segment routing labels I'm advertising? Okay, we don't really need to talk about the other details, but it just means segment routing is now on. Okay, now I go to router ISIS, show run, include ISIS. Okay, this is router ISIS 1. I already have the network entity title, which is my router ID, assuming I already have metric style wide, which I should because I was already running MPLS traffic engineering to begin with in this example. Okay, so under ISIS, metric style wide, we now say segment routing MPLS. Okay, for now, that's it. Okay, let's look at now what is the equivalent of this on iOS XR. Configuring segment routing on iOS XR. Okay, notice what else came up there. It said configuring segment routing with JunoOS. Because again, those are the two players. That is the reality at the end of the day. 99% of your internet traffic is routed in the core by a Cisco iOS XR or a Juniper JunoOS box. At the end of the day, that is just a fact. Okay, so if the major players, which are Cisco and Juniper, if they get on board with segment routing, then hey, segment routing will take off. Okay, that is the whole point about Lisp. Juniper did not get on board, and hey, Lisp is dead. You could use it for your own internal applications. A lot of cool things you can do with Lisp. But me, as a network engineer, I will never recommend to you that you implement Lisp in production just because it didn't take off. It's the same thing as Trill. No, you don't implement Trill. Are you kidding me? Implement VXLAN, right? Does the same exact thing, but nobody bought Trill. It's just how it turned out. Okay, so segment routing will take off ultimately because Juniper has bought into it. Cisco is going all in on segment routing. Segment routing means the new cellular network that we need to build globally for Internet of Things. Segment routing is the way we're going to do it. We can now scale the control plane. We can do arbitrary traffic engineering. Take the Internet, input it into some path computation element. We can now optimize flows through the Internet core. Okay, that's the ultimate goal that we're working towards, guys, here with segment routing. Okay, so next it says we're going to configure segment routing. But how are we going to do this? Okay, you could show me with OSPF. Hopefully it's going to be the same as ISIS. I can probably guess what the syntax is going to look like. So let's try this from the XR box's point of view. Okay, we're now going to go to iOS XR1. And we're going to show run include ISIS. Okay, we go to router ISIS1. We go to segment routing. Okay, segment routing, I'm going to say, let's try this under address family. Address family IPv4 unicast. Segment routing, MPLS. Okay, just like I guessed. Okay, so probably what do we need to do this under? Maybe the level? Okay, is it under, no, we don't say level 2 there. So let's try this. We have MPLS traffic engineering. We have the router ID. We need to say segment routing MPLS. So why is it listing it multiple times? That's really the question here. Let's show config. We turn, and to tell you the truth, if anyone wants to throw me a bone here, let me know the syntax. I don't know the syntax. The point is, the syntax is trivial. Turn on segment routing. That's the only thing we're trying to do. It's not affecting the edge. The edge is where our intelligence is. I'm trying to figure out what is now the equivalent of MPLS LDP autoconfig, but for segment routing. Okay, we'll get there. If you want to help me out, feel free. Okay, let's see if this is enough. Let's take this same config on all 3 iOS XR boxes. Okay, I have a feeling it's not enough. I think there's something that you need to turn on in their data plane in order to signal this. Okay, so I've said under ISIS we're running segment routing. Okay, now let's look at the database. Has something changed in what ISIS is actually advertising? Show ISIS database. Okay, what we should see is that we have hopefully some additional information in the link state database. So show ISIS database detail, and I want to say this is going to be in the level 2 database that we hopefully should see our extensions for SR, okay, which we don't. Okay, so what this means is I need to optimize a couple other things. First and foremost, I should not have an ISIS level 1 database. Level 1 is typically the equivalent of a not so totally stubby area in OSPF, meaning that it is an area on the edge. In the case of ISIS, level 2 is the equivalent of area 0. This is what we're trying to switch through the core. So I need to simplify the routing logic. Okay, under the routing process, show run section ISIS, and again, iOS XR does not support that in this version, Bri. So show run router ISIS does work. We need to go to this process, and we're going to simplify it a little bit. So we're not going to be changing any administrative distance. No, you don't do that under normal circumstances. We're not doing any type of redistribution. This was some stupid route tag problem that I had. And then same thing under address family IPv6. We're not redistributing. We're not modifying your administrative distance. We have more of a vanilla ISIS config. Okay, show run router ISIS. We're saying that we're running segment routing. Yes, we have metric style wide. Okay, do we have our traffic engineering router ID set? That may be an issue. Okay, so let's go to router ISIS process number 1. MPLS traffic engineering under address family IPv4 unicast. MPLS traffic engineering for level 2. MPLS traffic engineering router ID is your loopback. Okay, if we show config, commit, changes, last 3, I went to ISIS, let's say last 2. I went to ISIS, I stopped redistributing, I stopped playing with distance, I turned segment routing on. Okay, I need to commit. And what else did I do? I set the router ID. Okay, so this means I should be able to pretty much copy and paste this to the other guys. Okay, I don't need to change the router ID. I'm not doing that. I do need to set the metric style and the traffic engineering. Okay, so that's just prepping it for SR, for segment routing. Okay, commit, commit, commit. Okay, let's now show ISIS database. Okay, did we get rid of the level 1 database? No, not yet. Okay, so something is still wrong here. Show run router ISIS. We need to say that we're running level 2 only. Router ISIS 1, address family IPv6 or IPv4, and level. I'm having a brain fart here today. Where do I set this under the iOS XR process? I think it goes under the port level, right? So let's show config, abort, show run. Okay, where is this level set? It's going to be under router ISIS1, under interface, under address family. Okay, that's what the issue is. So let's say show run, pipe include, quote, ISIS or Ethernet or family. That's what I need. Okay, so I can copy this out of here. That's what I need. Okay, so on these interfaces, I need to say for that address family, level 2. Okay, let me see if that is the correct syntax. No. IS, what is the, so we're under the what? We're under, let me try under the address family. Address family IPv4 unicast, IS, no, ISPF. Okay, so we go under the port. And this is because I have too many Cisco OSs in my head. Level, where is it the circuit type? Or is it outside of the AFI? IS type, circuit type, there we go, level 2 only. Okay, show config, thank you. Under the interface, this is level 2 only. But there should be, where am I missing this command? Is it IS type? There we go, that's what I'm looking for. Globally, IS type is level 2 only. Okay, so abort. What I need to do is simply to go to router ISIS1 and say the IS type is level 2 only. Show config, commit, copy this to the other XR boxes. Okay, I knew it was as simple as regular iOS. Commit. Okay, so now let's show ISIS database. There we go. Okay, now we only have the level 2 database. That's what the key is here. Okay, also notice that we have a couple other link state packet IDs that are being generated, the ones that have the 03, the 05, the 01. What this means is that we're running the default network type, which is broadcast. I'm actually going to optimize this. I'm going to fix this because what I should be doing in this design is setting all of these to network type point-to-point. Okay, that's an optimization of IGP for your service provider network. So on XR1, we show run, or let's say show ISIS interfaces. Brief, can I say? Yes? Okay, and on those interfaces, I want them to be running as network type point-to-point. So if we show ISIS interface gig 0000.111, it says the network type is LAN, and that's not what I want. Okay, I want the media type as P2P. So we're going to fix this. Okay, show run router ISIS, and we need to say that on these sub interfaces, these are all, I want to say it's under the AFI. So under router ISIS1, it is point to point. No, is it under just the interface point to point? That's even easier. Okay, show config. So go to every interface under ISIS process and say point to point. Show run, do show run, pipe include ISIS or interface. Okay, so go under the interfaces and say point to point. Okay, point to point, point to point, point to point. Okay, every interface running ISIS. Okay, show config, commit. Okay, so unfortunately, I didn't have this stage, so this is just kind of a minor time-consuming thing we need to do here, but it is, I don't want to say it's required. I'm wondering maybe if I have some bad behavior because it is LAN, but I want to do this anyways. So show run include ISIS or interface, and this is going to be under what? It's going to be under all of those. Okay, so let's just do this in Notepad. So under the interface, I simply say point to point. Okay, there are other ways to do this. Okay, so we don't need to talk about hierarchy here. I'm just trying to do this quickly. The ideal case would be to do what? Okay, how do you scale this in iOS XR from your operational syntax point of view? I would want to use an apply group. Okay, I'm not going to get into that now, but Google apply group, iOS XR, if you have not heard of that before. Okay, shortcut in syntax. XR3, show run, pipe, include, quote, ISIS, pipe, interface, close quote. Okay, copy that out. Okay, paste, point to point. Okay, if this was your CCI lab exam, you should be doing this in Notepad, right? Okay, don't type all this stuff in. You're wasting time. Commit. Okay, now show ISIS database. Did I get rid of those other LSPs? Yes, they are aging out. Okay, hold time is 0. That is getting discarded. We should have one more. That's on router 2. So on router 2, that is interface what? gig2.212. Config T, interface gig2.212, ISIS network, point to point. Show ISIS neighbors. No, show ISIS database. And we're good to go. Okay, eventually that is going to age out. Okay, now I need to see, did this actually turn on for segment routing? Show ISIS database detail. Okay, what is in the database besides the regular routes? Hopefully it says something. Okay, I'm not 100% sure what it's supposed to say. But let's show MPLS forwarding table. Do we have segments? Yes, we do. Okay, we have segment routing adjacencies. Okay, what did we change in the config? Who knows? Okay, I'm just trying to say, ISIS, please run segment routing. Okay, so now did this affect the data plane? No, our data plane's still broken. So I think there's something else that I need to do globally. Is it just segment routing? And do I need to say what? Just commit? I'm not 100% sure. Okay, segment routing, commit. I thought it was a segment routing forwarding command, but the documentation has changed since they put that command. Okay, so seriously, if you guys are listening right now and you know my problem, let me know, because I do not know my problem right now. Normally, 99% of the videos, this is just some game I'm playing with you guys that I don't know the troubleshooting. This is, I don't know this syntax because it's arbitrary. Turn ISIS on for segment routing. That's all we're trying to do. Okay, did this fix the data plane? No. Okay, so let me see. Let me do one quick Google search for this. See if I can find a segment routing example for ISIS on iOS XR. Okay, if not, then we're going to have to take a break. I'm going to have to play with this until I get the data plane up. Then we can resume. So what did they do? Configure, router ISIS, address family, metric style, MPLS traffic engineering, router IDs, segment routing, MPLS traffic engineering. Maybe that's it. Maybe I didn't turn TE on globally. Okay, so config T, MPLS traffic engineering, commit. MPLS traffic engineering, commit. MPLS traffic engineering, commit. Okay, did that fix the data plane? Okay, let me undebug this. I don't need that debug output. I just need to see those pings, right? Okay, we're not looking for you. We want bang, 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 right? But no bangs yet. Okay, let's see. What's going on with the control plane? Let's go to XR1 and see what does the MPLS forwarding table look like. Show MPLS forwarding table. Now, technically, I didn't think that I even need to set a segment routing block because it's supposed to pick this automatically, I thought. So let's try this. Show run, include MPLS. No MPLS LDP. I don't know if that will even work because in certain cases, even if you're not running LDP, iOS XR still needs this for data plane to forward. Okay, did that change it? Not yet. It may need to converge though. Let's see. Now show MPLS forwarding table. We're still unlabeled. Okay, the key is that the core routes need to ultimately have labels associated with them. Okay, so let's see. Maybe I just need to set what the segment routing block is. That may be the prefix SID is what that is called. Okay, but again, this is very, very new. There is not very much documentation about what this is supposed to do. Syntax-wise, I'm talking about. Theory-wise, not an issue. Segment routing is MPLS. Segment routing is ISIS advertises routes and it advertises labels. Or OSPF advertises routes and OSPF advertises labels. It's that simple. Okay, we'll get into the discussion later about what else can you do with this, but you know, from a marketing point of view, don't get discouraged. Okay, just like anything, they've repackaged it, renamed it, and now it's super expensive and super fancy, right? Here we go, configuration example. Okay, metric style wide. Do I have that everywhere? Okay, so on router 2, show run section ISIS. Metric style wide. Okay, we do have it. Okay, but I don't have traffic engineering. Maybe that's my issue. Router ISIS 1, MPLS traffic engineering for level 2, and the MPLS traffic engineering router ID is loopback 0. Okay, show MPLS traffic engineering. Topology. Database? Database? No. Topology. Well, what does this say? Let's see. Who's participating? Maybe I can use my old show command, right? Show MPLS traffic engineering topology. Pipe to include ID. Okay, who are the IDs of the devices running TE? Why did that get no matches there? That can't be right. There we go. TE ID. Okay, so it looks like they are running traffic engineering. So what are their IDs or what are their interfaces? Pipe INTF. INTF. So router 11 says it's running TE towards 12. Okay, neighbor interface address 10, 11, 12, 12. Okay, so that's this link here, 11, 12. And then 12 says it's running in it towards router 2, which is down, towards router 11, and towards router 12. Okay, that's correct. Then router 13 says I'm running traffic engineering towards 12. Okay, that's correct. So that should be our full topology. Okay, what about router 2? Technically, router 2 doesn't even matter here, though, because it's not in transport. Let me just shut it down. Okay, gig 2, shut. Router 2 is now out of the equation. Okay, at least for segment routing, because the issue is this is literally brand spanking new. Okay, there's pretty much no options to configure in the protocol even. So we only have one transit path now. We can only go through the iOS XR boxes. I just need them to bind the label. Okay, so let's see, where is that config that says what the label range is? That might be what's, this is what I'm missing. Configuring a prefix SID on the ISIS enabled loopback. I need to go to router ISIS, go to the loopback, and then set the prefix SID. This is what's missing. Okay, but again, not obvious. Most of you don't even know. What is prefix SID, Brian? What are you talking about, right? Okay, so let's go to XR1. Okay, I'll show you what does prefix SID mean. Show run, router ISIS. And under loopback, that's what's going to be our problem. Okay, so router ISIS 1, interface loopback 0, address family IPv4 unicast, segment routing. No. Prefix SID. Prefix SID is what? Let's set it to be starting at index 11,000 or 11,000. No, let's say 11,000. Okay, we'll say 11,000. Enter, commit. Okay, show config, commit, changes, last one change. And we're going to do the same thing on the other boxes. We're going to use a different label range. Okay, 12,000, commit. 13,000, commit. Okay, show MPLS forwarding table. There we go. Now we have segment routes, okay, or segment labels, right? Did this now heal our data plane? Don't know yet. We might still be converging. Show MPLS forwarding. No, this guy didn't allocate that yet. Why not? I think now I messed myself up globally. MPLS LDP. I'm pretty sure you still need that on. Okay, that's just turn MPLS on the platform. So I believe that it will not work unless you have MPLS LDP, even if LDP is not the control plane protocol. It doesn't really make sense. Okay, so where are we at now? I think we're essentially at the time where we need to take a break. I need to either let this give some time to converge or uncommit, commit the changes, and I'm going to try to basically like kickstart the process. But ultimately what should be happening is that the loopbacks we were learning through ISIS, we should have MPLS labels associated with those. So from XR1 specifically, it's going to be the route for 13, 13, 13, 13. Because that is when we show, ooh, you know what, here, this is, look at this metric. Ooh, that's what the problem is. I had turned on LDP synchronization before. I need to turn that off now. Show run in sync. Oh, in sync, right? Show run, where's LDP synchronization? That's under the ISIS process. Show run router ISIS. Okay, so we need to kill that. Okay, so we need to say show run pipe include, quote, ISIS or what? Ethernet or address or sync. Why did you quit? Oh, in. No, show run pipe in. There we go. Okay, so now I could take these. I'll say in notepad, find and replace MPLS LDP sync to no MPLS LDP sync. Okay, 3 items replaced. Copy. paste. Okay, see guys, that's 99% of our job, right? Copy, paste. You're getting paid to use clipboard here. Okay, so same thing. What did I want to show for the command? Show run. Of course, now I'm never going to find it back there. Show run, pipe to include. Show run, pipe to include, pipe, no, quote, ISIS, pipe, Ethernet, pipe, family, pipe, sync. Simple, right guys? Super simple. Okay, router, let me say that command on the other box before I forget it. Okay, practice your regular expressions. You'll use this. You'll use this for tons of things over your career. There's a whole book on just regex. Understanding regular expressions on Safari. Can you believe that? It's an entire book just on regular expressions? You know, let me look behind me. I think I have that book. If I don't, it should be here. If I don't, it means it got thrown out. Nope. Look at this. Mastering regular expressions. See, this stuff does come in handy. Okay, so what did I say? I wanted to copy this out and turn synchronization off. Okay, we don't need to talk about what is synchronization. We can talk about it later. But it's breaking my config. Okay, why is it breaking my config, Brian? I'm not running LDP. I can't run LDP synchronization if I'm not running LDP. That doesn't make sense. Okay, well, it makes sense now that you figured out the problem, right? It didn't make sense 5 minutes ago. Show run. All right, so I have this output. Some of this you kind of just have to infer, right? The documentation is not going to tell you that, hey, don't run LDP synchronization on accident. Issue is, well, you're not running LDP. You're running segment routing now. Okay, so we replace MPLS LDP sync with no MPLS LDP sync. And we're praying to whoever we pray to, right, guys? Okay, no judgment. We're just praying for pings. No pings yet. Okay, so Hail Mary, pass. Okay, here, what we're going to do, our last-ditch effort, we go to global config on the iOS XR boxes, roll back to blank, say auto roll back this commit to uncommit it in a couple seconds. I'm going to say globally, commit, replace, confirm in 30 seconds. Do I want to replace everything with a blank config? Sure. But 30 seconds from now, my system will auto roll back. Did I do this in production? No. Because that's a resume generating event, right? An RGE. No, you don't do that in production. What am I really doing? I'm rebooting the software because this is virtualization, right? Okay, delete the config, replace it with blank, and then in 30 seconds, roll back. What this really means is stop BGP, stop OSPF, restart the process. Your software, maybe you're having a software issue. So we're not really troubleshooting segment routing per se here, we're troubleshooting viral. If this was hardware, it would be a different story. Okay, so let's take 5. Hopefully that's going to fix the problem. If not, we'll continue again another time once I get the data plan working. But either way, we will continue again in 5 minutes.